Minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. My dear students, let's finish our syllabus by study of the urinary system, that is kidney, ureter and urethra. Let's study the urinary system and it will finish our syllabus of the second year MBBS histology. And as regards the urinary system comprises of the kidneys and the ureters, and there is a urinary bladder and urethra. You know, the kidneys produce the urine which passes through the ureters to the bladder for temporary storage, and there is then periodic release to the exterior through the urethra. Kidneys, they are large red bean-shaped structures, retroperitoneal and near to the posterior abdominal wall. On its medial side, there is a depression called the hilum, through which the renal artery enters, while the renal vein and ureter leave the organ. The upper part of the ureter is expanded to fill the hilum of the kidney, and this is known as the pelvis of the kidney. It is subdivided into large and small cups, referred to as the major and minor calyces. What are the functions of the kidney? It is an exocrine as well as an endocrine gland, so it produces the urine, it stores and excretes the urine, it regulates the electrolyte level, it also synthesizes renin and erythropoietin, which are the hormones. As regards the external anatomy of the kidney is a paired kidney is a bean-shaped organ, 4 to 5 inches long, 2 to 3 inches wide, and it is 1 inch thick, found just above the waist between the peritoneum and the posterior wall of the abdomen. Retroperitoneal, it is along with the adrenal glands and the ureter. It is protected by the 11th and 12th ribs, with right kidney is the lower. On naked eye inspection of a vertical hemisection, the kidney shows an outer granular zone called the cortex and an inner zone known as the medulla. Medulla is striated. The cortex appears granular because it contains the renal corpuscles and convoluted parts of the renal tubules. The medulla of the kidney gives a striated appearance because it lodges parallelly arranged blood vessels and straight parts of the renal tubules. Demarcation between the renal cortex and medulla is not clear cut. Only difference is of the color because the cortex is reddish while the medulla is lightly stained. The medullary substance of each kidney is arranged as 8 to 18 conical masses, which are called the pyramids. Base of each pyramid is lying adjacent to the cortex, while the apex, known as papilla, projects into a minor calyx of the renal pelvis. You can see these are the minor calyces. Each pyramid with its associated overlying cortex is regarded as a lobe of the kidney. So this hole is the lobe of the kidney. Parenchyma of the kidney consists of a large number of closely packed uriniferous tubules, between which are present blood vessels and scanty amount of interstitial connective tissue. It is subcapsular reddish brown area, and this is reddish brown because the 90% of the blood flows through the cortex. Cortex is reddish in color. It appears granular. It contains renal corpuscles and convoluted tubules, and the medulla of kidney gives a striated appearance. It dislodges the blood vessels and straight parts of the tubules, and it contains only 10% of the blood supply, so there is light staining as compared to the cortex, which is having 90% of the blood vessels. So this is the renal cortex and this is the medulla. You can see, you can compare the histology, you can compare the histological pictures. This is the renal cortex, this is the renal medulla. What about the uriniferous tubules? Each uriniferous tubule comprises of two parts which form a continuous passage. Although they have different developmental origin, the uriniferous tubule comprises of the nephrons and the collecting tubules. The nephron, which is 30 to 40 millimeter long and is responsible for the production of urine. Developmentally, the nephron is derived from the metanephric blastema, while the collecting tubule, which has a length of about 20 millimeter and conveys the urine to the renal pelvis. This part of the uriniferous tubule is derived from the ureteric bud. If we talk about the nephron, each kidney contains approximately 1 million nephrons, and a nephron is a long epithelium-lined tube which begins blindly and ends by joining a collecting tubule. The nephron is highly tortuous for the greater part of its course and consists of several segments of different structure and function. A nephron begins as a double-walled cup-shaped dilatation, which is known as the Bowman's capsule. It consists of a tuft of capillaries called glomeruli, and it occupies the concavity of the capsule. This is the Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule and glomerulus collectively constitute a renal corpuscle. And then from the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus. Continuing from the Bowman's capsule, the remaining portion of the nephron are the proximal tubule, the intermediate tubule, and a distal tubule, which is again divided into convoluted and straight tubules. The proximal tubule consists of the two segments, the pars convoluta or proximal convoluted tubule and pars recta or proximal straight tubule. Then we have got the intermediate, this is the intermediate tube, which lies between the straight parts of the proximal and distal tubule. The distal tubule also consists of the pars recta, that is distal straight tubule, and pars convoluta, that is distal convoluted tubule. The convoluted parts of the proximal as well as distal tubules are located in the cortex of the kidney, along with the renal corpuscles. Pars recta of the proximal tubule, the intermediate tubule and pars recta of the distal tubule form a loop-like structure, which is called the loop of Henle. This is the loop of Henle. This portion is the loop of Henle. And it extends into the medulla from the cortex. Anatomy of the ureter. There are 10 to 20 inches long tubes which are coming out from the hilum of the kidney, and it descends down to enter into the urinary bladder. It varies in diameter from 1 to 10 millimeter, extends from the renal pelvis to the bladder. It is retroperitoneal, enters the posterior wall of the bladder. Physiological valves are there present. Bladder wall compresses arterial opening as it expands during filling. There are three layers in the wall of the ureter: mucosa, muscularis and adventitia. Mucosa is having the transitional epithelium and the lamina propria, since organ must inflate and deflate. In the mucosa of the ureter, we have got the transitional epithelium, and it is lying over the lamina propria. Since the organ must inflate and deflate, so nature has provided the transitional epithelium. We have studied in first year MBBS about the transitional epithelium, which is in the standard state of the bladder or the ureter. It will become a flattened epithelium, only 2 to 3 layers in thickness, and when there is contraction of the bladder, that is when there is emptying of the bladder, the epithelium becomes 7 to 8 layers thick. The mucus prevents the cells from being contracted. The mucus prevents the cells from being contacted by the urine. Muscularis, inner longitudinal and outer circular smooth muscle layer. Distal 1/3 as additional longitudinal layer. Peristalsis contributes to the urine flow. Adventitia, layer of loose connective tissue, anchors in place. The urinary bladder is a hollow, distensible muscular organ with the capacity of 700 to 800 milliliter. Again, the histology of the urinary bladder, it has got 3 layers in the wall. The mucosa is transitional epithelium and the lamina propria. Muscularis, that is consisting of 3 layers of the smooth muscles, inner longitudinal, middle circular and outer longitudinal. The circular smooth muscle fibers form the internal urethral sphincter. The circular skeletal muscles form the external urethral sphincter. Adventitia is the layer of loose connective tissue and it anchors in place. Superior surface has serosa because it is covered by the visceral peritoneum. Now this is the diagram which is showing you the transitional epithelium, 2 to 3 layers of cells, and then underneath is the lamina propria. This is the mucosa, then is the muscularis, and then is the adventitia. In the urinary bladder and the ureter, there are only 3 layers. From inside outwards, the mucosas, there is no submucosa, mucosa, and then there is a muscular layer that is consisting of the smooth muscles, the inner circular and outer longitudinal in the case of the ureter, but in the uterus, so this is the microscopic picture of the urinary bladder. You can see the mucosa is folded. This is the lumen, and you can see in the lumen there are folds of the mucosa, and the lining of the urinary bladder is the transitional epithelium. You can see 6 to 8 layers in the contracted state of the bladder. When the bladder is empty, the transitional epithelium has got 6 to 8 layers of cells, the dome-like cells towards the surface, which are the umbrella-like cells. And then we have got the lamina propria, which is loose areolar connective tissue, very vascular. And then in the muscular layer there are 3, so there are inner circular, outer longitudinal and middle circular. There are 3 layers of smooth muscles in the muscularis externa, inner circular, middle longitudinal and outer circular muscles. And then comes the adventitia, which is the connective tissue. This is the ureter, a star-shaped lumen, a very small structure. You can see the transitional epithelium, again 6 to 8 layers of cells. The superficial cells are, these are umbrella-like or dome-like cells. Some of the cells are binucleated. Then there are pear-like cells, and all these cells are lying over a basal lamina, and just beneath the basal lamina is the lamina propria. This is the mucosa. Then comes the muscularis, and muscularis consists of 2 layers, the inner circular and outer longitudinal, and then is the adventitia, and this is the connective tissue which is surrounding the ureter. The urethra is a tube that carries the urine from the bladder to the exterior. In men, the sperms also pass through it during ejaculation. In women, the urethra is exclusively a urinary organ. And there is difference between the male and female urethra. In the male urethra we have got three parts. There is a prostatic part of the urethra which is 3 to 4 centimeter long, and it runs through the prostate gland and it has the transitional epithelium. As regards the membranous urethra, it is a very short segment, only 1 to 2 centimeter long and lined by pseudostratified columnar epithelium. If we talk about the spongy part of the urethra, this is 15 centimeter long. This is the longest part. It also has got the bulbous and the pendulous urethra. It passes through the corpus spongiosum of the penis, and the stratified columnar and pseudostratified epithelium with some stratified squamous epithelium distally. We will find these type of epithelia. As regards the female urethra, the female urethra is a tube which is 4.5 centimeter long, and there are areas of pseudostratified columnar epithelium in the middle, and it is lined with stratified squamous epithelium in the distal parts. The mid part of the female urethra is surrounded by an external striated voluntary sphincter. So this is the female and the male urethra. You can see the female urethra and you can see the male urethra. The epithelium is of transitional variety in the prostatic part, while the membranous and penile parts are lined by pseudostratified columnar. The lamina propria consists of the loose connective tissue, which is rich in collagen and elastic fibers. There are some mucus secreting glands which are known as the glands of Litter, and they are found along the entire length of the urethral mucosa, being most numerous in the dorsal part of the penile urethra. In the prostatic and membranous parts of the male urethra, some smooth muscle is present outward to the mucosa, forming a muscularis. If we talk about the female urethra, the mucosa of the female urethra is lined mainly by stratified squamous epithelium with areas of pseudostratified and stratified columnar epithelia. The lamina propria consists of the loose connective tissue, which is characterized by the presence of cavernous veins. Outward to the lamina propria is present a muscularis, which is composed of the smooth muscle fibers arranged as inner longitudinal and outer circular layers. The muscularis is reinforced by sphincter of the skeletal muscle near the external orifice of the urethra. This was about the urethra.